over alleged extortion. The men were arrested recently at a bank in Umuahia, Abia State, while attempting to extort a resident. Imo State Police spokesman Michael Abatam, who narrated narrated the story, says the offenders had been charged to court. And Jide, would this cure the malaise?
No, it won't stop. The police, I must give the police credit for one thing. They are one security outfit that does not waste time to shame its black legs. They don't waste time at all. I've not seen any of the security agencies that routinely exposes the bad eggs within its ranks like the police. No doubt about it. Not the Army, not the Navy, not the Air Force. Once you are caught, in fact, there was a time that they had what we call the X squad, the IG's X squad. I don't know if they still have it. But those ones who are always going after extortionists among policemen. And once you are caught, you know that you are gone. In spite of that, because of the defective recruitment module that the police continue to use, bad eggs never do well.
Find their way.
They still find their way, even armed robbers.
I remember former President Obasanjo said that much.
Yes, he knew what he was saying because we've seen policemen connive with armed robbers. You know, look at the one who used to be in SARS that was dismissed and eventually joined the robbers that terrorized Offa at that time. You know, well, from the story that I'm hearing, it's difficult to see him now. I won't say more than that. You know. Now, in spite of making examples of the bad eggs, the black legs amongst them, we still see policemen misbehaving, spoiling the good name of the force, and putting to shame those who would never, for any reason, indulge in all of those abnormal behaviors. There are policemen, and we've said it before. Your father was a policeman who left with an unblemished record. There are still people like him in the force that you cannot give them a bribe. If you bring it, they will not take. We've mentioned some individuals like that. But what the police needs to improve upon is their method of recruitment. It shouldn't be for all comers. The problem
starts from the recruitment ground.
That is the thing. Even at that time, Obasanjo just said it. It shouldn't be for all comers or never do wells, people who cannot find any other job. We know that there is unemployment in our country. It shouldn't mean that our police and the army and the armed forces generally should now be wide open to all comers. No, now. We have to screen people at the level of their communities. They must be well recommended by their traditional rulers. That's the job of traditional rulers.
That's it.
The job of traditional rulers is not to sit in their kingdoms collecting egunje over land and other things. They should be saddled with the responsibility of helping to identify the right people. So if you apply to go into the police, they must check your background thoroughly. Your traditional ruler must be involved. And we should be able to trust those traditional rulers, not traditional rulers that they will slip money into their hands and they will simply say, oh, this person is good. No, we are not helping ourselves by such abhorrent behaviors.
Not many of us would recall that Chioma Ajunwa is a police or was a policewoman, or that Sam Igun was a policeman, and David Ejoke, and so it's crazy. It's crazy.
It is. You know, one of the problems we have in Nigeria is that we do not give credit to those who deserve to be acknowledged. Now, you mentioned Chioma Ajunwa. Chioma Ajunwa was not just a super policewoman. She brought honor to Nigeria.
Yeah.
And we don't get to hear about her anymore. So you see, when you continue to ignore those who are doing good, then those who are doing bad will feel that is the best way to go. And taking it off from where BKO stopped, I think I don't want to quickly go to the traditional rulers now. I want to go to the police.
High command.
Yes, and their method of recruitment. Do you go to the villages? Do you go to this, the community where you bring these people from to come in, probably get the form, get registered, and what, and then become police officers? Because if they carry out due diligence on everyone who wants to be a member of the police force, I think to a large extent we would have a little bit of positive change in the police force. And also, I feel that, I don't know, maybe while they go on with their due diligence and everything, and do they bring in psychologists? Into
the picture.
Yes.
So
because these are people who they can read you while interviewing you. They can.
Ibn Abbas, sometimes you think the institution is jinxed. Remember, in the last days of the Jonathan government, a documentary went on air, and Mr. President had to go to the college here in Lagos, and you expected heads to roll. Nothing happened.
That's the way I started it, that we do not punish those who are doing badly.
Yeah.
How do you encourage people to do good, to do well, to do better? People like you mentioned, Chioma Ajunwa and the rest of them, should be honored. And not just to be honored once and then pushed to the corner.
Yeah.
You should continually refer to them so that they would stand as,
I cannot forget.
Examples.
Yes.
I'm sure you remember Sunday Oyarekwa, a policeman, a striker.
Sonny Oyarekwa.
Sonny Oyarekwa, yes.
Sonny Oyarekwa. He was a striker for the police machine team.
Yes,
and played for Nigeria.
Yes. In 1973, when we won gold in the All-African Games, we was in that team along with Igwe, along with Yakubu Mambo.
Yakubu Mambo, I remember.
Yes, who scored the first goal at the National Stadium, because the National Stadium was built for the games. So we've had excellent people. We always talk about Fimeho Adeoye on this program, because he was such an exemplary policeman. And when he was living as police commissioner in Osun State, the people gathered, organized
a befitting send-off.
Yes, for him, because he was such an excellent officer, incorruptible. Chioma is an assistant commissioner of police now, but as she said, such people should even be the face of the police. Let people see that great things can come out of the police. Those who excel, either in gallantry or even in honesty, we should constantly let the world see them.
That's it.
Look at the guy, the policeman who rejected dollars the other day.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, he got a national award. But what we are saying is there has to be a way in which we put such people in the faces of our people.
That's it.
Let them know that, look, out of our police, great men and women, abound. It's not as if everybody in the police is bad, because that is the image that the police has.
And Jide and Ibn Abbas, do you know the most powerful man on Nigeria's roads is the policeman? He's the only man who can search you on the road, come to your house, and search you.
Yes, the law permits.
The power the man has is unquantifiable. But to allow that power to vanish because of 20 naira and all that, people like this will make the job of good policemen very dangerous.
And difficult.
All right. We have 3 colleges, police colleges in the country: Lagos, Kano, Enugu. We can do more than we're doing. Okay, to our next story. Counter-terrorist campaigns appear to be yielding positive results in the west and north central regions of the country. The Defense Headquarters says our gallant armed forces have, in the last 3 weeks, eliminated more than 60 terrorists and bandits in the 2 regions. Director Defense Media Operations, Major General Musa Damadami, I hope I got that right, gave the cheering update on Thursday while briefing newsmen. It can only get better, Ibn Abo. It can only get better from here.
Yes. And then again, as they are doing better than they were doing before, I also feel that there is need to address the issue of abandoned children who are on the streets in various states, homeless, orphans. Because these are the ones, they are the easy prey. They are the ones that are easily recruited into this, into becoming insurgents and all. So if the government can take care of that, I think they would begin to lose, the number of recruits that they have. Because for me, from what I've been able to gather, regularly they have recruits. All they need to do is to go to the streets. I remember there was a particular story. I think I listened in, I think it was BKO that came up with the story. A young man from somewhere in Borno State. He was a Boko Haram repentant, whatever. He said in his town, in his village, they had never seen a 1,000 naira note before. So these insurgents will come to them, give them a 1,000 naira note, or some other times they will promise to give them a loan as little as 5,000 naira. And if you're not able to pay back, you have to give your child, whether it's a boy or a girl, to the insurgents. So until we address all of these issues, they are the underlying issues. When we address these issues while the military are taking up on all of this, taking up their own duty by decimating all of the activities and making sure that there is security everywhere in the country, we need to go to the bottom of the problem and solve it. Because if there is anyone, any part of Nigeria where they had never seen a 1,000 naira note, then I tell you, with 1,000 naira note, you can encourage them to go into crime.
Yeah. And Jidi, in a country of so many big people, a true hero would be the man who does so much for so many with so little at his disposal. The men of the Nigerian army are gallant, and we must appraise them whenever we come up with stories like this.
Yes, there is so much focus on the North Central and the Northwest now, because we have massively degraded the capacity of Boko Haram to attack our troops. And if they can't attack our troops, then our communities will be safe, because what they like to do is, before attacking a community, they first take on the soldiers guiding the community. So if their capacity to take on those soldiers in their camps, because of the constant attacks on military bases, the idea of the super camps was muted.
Yeah.
What were they calling super camps? Super camps were camps where they took weapons from the smaller units and concentrated them in one unit, to make that unit impregnable for these bad people. So that's how the idea of the super camp came up. But in doing that, it left a lot of communities unprotected, because some of the small military bases in those places had to be closed and their weapons moved into the super camp. So every good intention has its own bad sides. But now, with the constant bombing of these bad guys, their weapons of war, like their gun trucks and the rest, have been largely bombed. So they can't move in the kind of convoys that they used to move in the past, that they can overrun a military base. That's no longer happening. In fact, in the past, they could overrun some super camps. They overran some super camps and carted away weapons. But those things are not happening anymore. And because of the problems that bandits are giving us, because bandits have seized the initiative from Boko Haram. These days is bandits that we are talking about. Whereas some time ago it was Boko Haram that was giving us all the problem. It's like even some elements of Boko Haram moved to the North Central, from there began to move to Northwest when the heat was becoming too much on them. Now, wherever they are, we are taking the battle to them. That is the message from Major General Damadami. We are taking the battle to them. We are killing them. We are making it difficult for them to operate the way they used to operate and endanger the lives of our people. All that we need to get our armed forces to do is do your best to avoid collateral damage. Yeah, because what happened in Zamfara is really unfortunate. Those guys were looking for human shield. The moment they were attacked, they meshed with people. And,
there was bedlam.
Yes, then once the bomb was dropped, they didn't recognize who was
evil or
a lot of innocent people lost their lives. That happens in warfare. Collateral damage. During the Gulf War, the Americans killed a lot of innocent Iraqis, but they didn't kill them on purpose. These things, sometimes wrong intelligence can lead you to a funeral procession, and you actually think it's a bandit or a terrorist moving to a location. So you drop your bomb. When you now do your post-operation analysis, you see that you had actually killed innocent people. So these things happen, but we still have to commend our troops and encourage them not to relax, We need, there are many communities where we can't hold elections because of this.
As you speak.
Yes, because these boys are in control of those communities. Either Boko Haram itself is still in control of communities, bandits are in control of communities in Katsina, in Zamfara, in Kaduna. So we need to flush them out so that our people can freely exercise their franchise.
What we mean by ungoverned spaces.
Yes, some of those forests and the communities linked to those forests, communities not far away from them.
Ibn Abba, the prayer from here would be, may the weapons of the terrorists rust in peace. Now, bad prayer.
Not better prayer.
All right, so let's go to the next story. The July 16 governorship election in Osun State may have come and gone, but the outcome continues to haunt us, and the INEC and the elector in Osun State. A deputy director, ICT with the INEC, Abimbola Oladunjoye, admitted there was, wait for this, a seemingly overvoting in some polling units. The deputy director, a witness for INEC, and first respondent in the matter was shown a statement concerning the exercise at Ede South. Election Petition Tribunal Chairman Tetskume ruled that the BVAS machines from the disputed 10 local governments should be kept in the CBN safe, pending the outcome of the matter. You ask the question, where do we go from here?
From smart card reader to zip pads, now to
politicians hardly want to lose a game.
People are becoming too desperate. But however, what I feel is there is need for INEC to make sure that they dot their I's and cross their T's, and then make sure. We were talking about policemen, due diligence and everything. I think there is need for INEC to look inwards. Their officials, how well do you know them before you, place them in various offices? Because if there is anything like overvoting and all that, with the technology that we have in place, no matter how fantastic the technology may be, it takes a man to run it. So what happened? Where they voted beyond the registered number of persons, who is culpable. Somebody did something wrong, and they should be punished.
For instance, how did foreigners get in possession of the PVC?
So
things like that.
Things like that. So there is need. Often we don't do due diligence. You put an announcement out there and people come rushing and you take them in. You don't carry out any form of due diligence. At the end of the day, you bring in people who are going to mess up everything you have worked so hard to put in place.
So the Governor Adeleke is not sitting pretty, at least until this case is disposed of.
I read a story in which he said overvoting happened in only 6 places. That's the governor. I wonder why he had to even say anything.
And that's impolitic, if you ask me.
Yes, he should just have kept quiet. You see, if a single vote was not deserved, and you found a way to win, your victory is tainted. There's no way you can wash your hands clean. Your victory is tainted if some of the votes that you got were not deserved. What we have seen in Osun is that we have to shine our eyes as a people. Because these beavers, we felt that beavers was the silver bullet
That's it.
that will put an end to election rigging in our country. But the facts coming out of Osun are really startling, and I'm worried. I'm worried for the 2023 election because if in Osun alone we can have this quantum of overvoting, the APC in Osun are saying that overvoting happened in 747 polling centers. It is for the tribunal to determine whether that is true. It is for the tribunal to determine whether the quantum of overvoting had such a big bearing on the outcome, on the final outcome. But some of what came out of the tribunal suggests clearly that there was overvoting. And then the question you ask is, what is going on? What role did beavers play in this whole thing? In Ede South, for example, accreditation figure was 830. But in the beavers report, the figure of accreditation was 793.
Yeah.
Okay. That's in Ward 4, Unit 7, Ede South. The figure of accreditation in the beavers report was 313, while the result on Form EC8A was 383. What we will expect to see is that whatever is captured by beavers
Is gospel.
yes, is the holy grail, or how can I describe it? But we are seeing a situation in which a different figure is captured by beavers, and on the Form EC8A, where the results are tallied and written, it has a different thing.
The politician is winning.
No, you get the impression that something is wrong with INEC, because INEC is supposed to organize this election and ensure that the process is credible and ensure that the politician cannot get away with these things.
But my trouble is when anything goes wrong with any poll, election in this country, the INEC takes the rap.
It has to take the rap. It has to. Because your processes must lead us to credible elections. You told us, how can you? Nobody, it's not the politician that filled in the results in the EC8A. Is the electoral arbiter, is the INEC themselves. They are the ones who fill in these results. How is the politician? It's not the politician. So if Beavers tells you that this is the number of accredited voters, and in Form EC8 you go to fill in something different. You can't blame the politician for that.
Okay.
And there are many people in INEC today, either in their IT team and other places, that are compromised.
Yes.
We've seen even some of them arrested. Remember what our friend Igini did the other day? Somebody was opposed to a prof, an academic. We started bringing these professors to help us run this election because we thought a lot of them were not crooked. But what did we see in Akwa Ibom? It was the prof himself that conspired to rig election. So this one, in that case, is it the politician? No. So there are so many reasons why INEC has got to clean up its processes so that what happened in Osun does not happen in other elections. You can't have a situation in which Beaver says something and then the from EC8 as a different figure. No.
Let's beg INEC to let us make some money now. We'll go on a commercial break. We'll be back, but please stay with us.
The advent of this administration, 15 dams have been completed. Out of those 37 that I mentioned that we inherited, we have finished about 15. And these I listed among them: Kashindila, Guinea, Cargo Dam, Sulmai, Ibiono, Ibom, Ogwashiku, Kampi Omi, Amozari, Amla Otoko, Adada, Gadao Lafia, Alajwe, Tiga, this Ruankanya and Chala, these are rehabilitation projects. So the last three are rehabilitation, but the other ones are all new dams that we met, some abandoned, some that were ongoing. We prioritized them and we completed them.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Everyone has a Chivita this season. What's your Chivita?
My brother, my sister, una deje, listen make I clear una well. To win election, no be only say your vote na in plenty pass o. Before person fit win election for we country, the person must win 25% of vote for 2/3 of state, plus the FCT for Nigeria. That one na for president. And governor must win the same thing for all local government area for the state. Na so our constitution put am o, and na so all our presido take become presido. All our governors na the same way them take win. So therefore, my people, our country big enough is small o, and we get different language, different religion, ethnic group nko. That one self dey nyafu. Na why nobody fit think say if you don't get north vote, abi south vote, abi east or west vote, e don do. Na lie yo, except you collect vote from all over the country, you just dey bobo yourself. Make una tell everybody, make everybody for know now, make you no for cause fight tomorrow. Na Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO, bring on this message.
The chairman, Zamfara State APC Gubernatorial Campaign Council for the re-election of His Excellency Governor Bello Muhammad MON, Matawallan Maradin Shatiman Dolar Usmaniya, His Excellency Honorable Abdulaziz Yara Abubakar Shatiman Zamfara, and former Governor Zamfara State cordially invite all APC members, stakeholders, and supporters in Zamfara State to the flag off of Zamfara State Gubernatorial Campaign, scheduled as follows. Date: Tuesday, 27 December 2022. Venue: Kauran Namoda Township Stadium along Shinkafi Road, Kauran Namoda, Zamfara State. Time: 10 a.m. prompt. Announcer: Honorable Ibrahim Megandi, Malikin Gidan Goga, Director, Publicity Directorate for the Campaign Council.
How important is comfort to you? Is it as important as the day you discovered that self-love is the start of good life? Here is a comfort that your self-love, Iderade. Transit into your serenity. The opportunity awaits you on this peace of mind as you pay in installments of 24 months with initial deposit of 500,000 naira. Serenity at its finest.
All right. Just before we go over this story, Ibn Abo, what is troubling for me now is the word seeming, or the phrase seeming overvoting. So are we to take it that there was overvoting at the election? And what next?
When there's an overvoting in any polling booth,
the law is clear.
the law is clear.
Yeah.
Whether in Nigeria we play with words a lot. Now the word that is reigning now is seeming or seemingly. Whether it is seeming or seemingly, was there overvoting or not? If there was, then the law should take its course. Period.
But again, our politicians must learn to play by the rule book, because it would appear to me that politics is the only game where the rules are suspended. So long as the show must go on.
To allow
the big boys to go through. And I'm reminded that life is too short. Don't make new mistakes. You can't afford to make wrong choices twice.
Well, in this case, my worry is everyone has told us that these beavers, that there's no problem with these beavers, but we have seen in Oshun that beavers is not perfect.
So the human element is involved.
Yes,
exactly.
it's the human element that will ensure that we have 2 reports.
Yes.
2 reports.
Yeah.
What are we doing with 2 reports? Why should we have a situation in which beavers report, I think in paragraph 26, 7 of Oladunjoye's statement, that's the ICT expert. She said the accreditation figure in a unit was 402. But in the beavers report, the accreditation figure was said to be 263.
Now somebody
Which means that there was overvoting by 139 votes. Now, there is no such thing as seeming overvoting. If there is overvoting, there is overvoting. You can't bamboozle us by playing with words.
Is like saying, it be like say.
Yeah, no, for us, we are very definite. We are certain that there was overvoting. Yeah. You cannot, when you put someone in the witness box, she's very conscious of everything that comes out of her mouth. She didn't want to say that, indeed there was overvoting. But the facts show clearly that there was overvoting in those places. And now even the governor has come out to say in 6 that overvoting only happened in 6 places. It should not even happen in 1 place, not to talk of 6 places. Now it is for the tribunal to determine whether we had whether the quantum of overvoting compromised the whole exercise. But for me, as a Nigerian who wants to see us have a succession of credible elections.
They behave like human beings because we are members of the human race.
We have to make sure that the progress that we are making is not rolled back by the greed and irresponsible behavior of a few. Because look, we didn't have we had election in Anambra. We had election in Ondo. Yeah. We had election in Ekiti. We had election in Edo, and everyone who say yes, these elections were free and fair. They showed clearly that our people had their way, that the voters had their way. It was who the voters wanted to win that won. now the hope of our people renewed in the exercise in our electoral process is now suspect based on some of the nonsense that we are hearing from the tribunal in Osun State. We can't have a situation in which beavers will record this and then in the Form EC8 you go and put something in. I mean, what sort of rubbish is that? Why are we as Nigerians like this? Why do we enjoy tampering with facts just to make life easier for ourselves? It makes no sense.
Like Citizen rightly said, the human factor is a problem.
Yeah.
It's not about changing the technology from card reader to Z-pad to beavers.
Nobody learns anything from victory. You learn from mistakes. But
yes.
They say if small people fall, they look front. If big people fall, they look back.
Yes.
But we have refused to look back.
Because we love to deceive ourselves.
All right. The tribunal, as we say, like a Daniel, we trust that the tribunal will come to judgment. Good luck to you. Okay, to our next story. Now, 3 leading political parties, the PDP, the APC, and Labour, have faulted a recent poll about the forthcoming election, and this was conducted by ANAP, that the poll is misleading. In the poll, Peter Obi is listed as leading, Senator Bola Tinubu of the APC and Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and Senator Rabiu Kwangwaso of the NNPP trailing. Now, Senator Dino Melaye has condemned the exercise, even as he averred that there was no polling unit in the social media. As far as the senator is concerned, the whole thing was only fit for the refuse bin. The ANAP poll has a tendency to mislead. Ibn Abo.
Firstly, let me say
I had a radio station reel the thing out, and I said the media was taught not to be in the middle.
if the wind had blown in favor of the one who called it trash, he wouldn't have called it trash. And we all know that. You see, it doesn't, for me, it says a lot, but it is not on a final note that, okay, this is what the 2023 election is going to look like, because it wasn't a physical poll. And you know that the one who won, according to ANAP, has a huge followership.
They say they gave him 23%. The second fellow came a distant 13%, the third 10%, and I think the fourth 7%.
For me, rather than fighting and saying all sort of things about this, go back home, go back to the drawing board and look at what you are not doing that you should do in terms of campaigning, in terms of, reaching out to the people, to the electorates to, win their hearts over. Sitting down and complaining and condemning all of these things does not hold water. It doesn't make any difference. It should be, pick it up and look at what are we not doing right and begin to do the needful. That is what I see here.
Jide, a cynic said the best form of hope would be expecting something from nothing. So the poll has come out, but as I said a while back, it has a tendency to mislead.
Yes, that's the thing about
mislead judgment.
Opinion polls. After Donald Trump's victory in 2016, the attitude of so many of our people, and even people abroad, changed towards opinion polls and what we call political prophecy by political journalists. They said, no, he could not win. Even within Trump's own team, they never believed that he could win. People were shocked by the outcome because the opinion polls clearly suggested that he was going to lose the election. But what did we see? Donald Trump won that election, and it wasn't the first. It wasn't the first. There was a time when we were told, oh, John Kerry will be the next president of the U.S.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
John Kerry couldn't defeat George Walker Bush. So opinion polls help us to understand electoral patterns, but they are not exact science. Opinion polls are not exact science. So if anyone is pinning his hope on opinion polls, then that person does not know what he's doing, because it's not exact science, and it lends itself to all kinds of errors. In this case, for example, the Atedo Peter side, who is the founder of ANAP, was asked some specific questions, and he said that they used cell phones. In the US, to make the opinion poll credible, they would rather use the landlines, because they know that the landline sits in your house or your office. You understand? That means that person...
They're easily tracked?
Yes, that person exists. But this phone, you could have 3 or 4. You could vote multiple times. You know? With the landline, you cannot vote twice. So, and it represents an individual from that house. You know that place. But with the phone, now, NIL has reached a subscription level of 93 million in Nigeria. Okay. I can tell you that out of that 93 million, perhaps half of them have dual lines. I know a number of my friends who even have 3 phones. 3 phones, 4, you know?
Rightly or wrongly.
Yeah, 4 phone lines. No, because of the infrastructure challenge that we have. If you are sure that if you go to Maiduguri, a T-Salat will work fine, why would you take MTN with you? For example, if you go to Taraba State, some parts of Taraba, some networks don't, some telco service providers don't really work well there. You have to go and buy a SIM of the network service provider
in that environment,
or the telco service provider that works well in that area. So what I'm saying is, if you sample, maybe you sampled about 50 people who have cell phones, is that really representative? Does that give us a representative, an effective representative by way of demographics?
Yeah.
It does not. A lot of our people don't use phones. They don't even know how to operate Android phones. For you to be able to vote in that kind of this exercise, for example, you must have an Android phone, not just an ordinary phone, an Android phone. How many of the poor people in our villages and the hinterland, how many of them have Android phone? All right. Even if you buy it for your mom, she probably won't know how to operate it.
Oh, yeah. All right, we'll go for another commercial break. Please bear with us. We're back shortly.
Doctor is the people they say. Tinubu can Doctor, where's your Yoruba they say. Tinubu la fe. Sounds the people they shout. Tinubu we want. Even from North Hausa they say. Tinubu we can so. All our country people they talk with one voice. Them say na Asiwaju Bola Tinubu them want as president of Nigeria for this president election.
Asiwaju Bola Tinubu na the man where we all know and see all the good work in they do for the country, especially when him be governor of Lagos State.
Now him God use turn Lagos to the best state for Nigeria.
Today, many people all over Nigeria they like to go Lagos, go settle down for business and better life.
All because of the good work when Bola Tinubu do.
People of Nigeria, as Asiwaju do for Lagos, now so him ready to do am for the whole country.
Vote Asiwaju
Bola Tinubu for President of Nigeria. Vote Kashim Shettima as Vice President. Vote APC, the party wey get broom.
This place will have a recreational park that is designed to make life comfortable. Wellness is key, and we're putting this place that will help people to, keep up on their health where they could burn their fat. And the timeline for this project is estimated to start and end within 18 months. But however, it starts in phases. The first phase is to get this place secured and gated, which is done.
Mowe is a growing city, and if you are very, very smart, then you realize that the Lagos-Ibadan expressway that is being developed is going to throw Mowe open furthermore.
People that have gone ahead of us have great investment here. And even way in the 90s, even before we thought about coming here. So I think it's a good idea, Iderade coming here.
Life is self-expression in your own space, in your own way. And when you've got your whole life ahead of you, your style simply becomes your attitude. And at the right time, you step out to bring more of you right into your space. Welcome to the world of Vento Furniture.
Season's greetings. Think home, think Vento Furniture.
The ministry collaborates with several stakeholders, and in getting Mr. President to sign an executive order, the one on ease of doing business, we actively participated in that. We also work with the CBN on the automation of the Nigerian export processing form and the TRMS, and the ministry also coordinates and works with the central bank on banking and financial institutions and establish the relationships between, so we're the link between the state and the banking system. The ministry also has enabled the Nigerian Export-Import Bank to grow by expanding its share capital so that it is able to provide more financing for the export sector of our country.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
The chairman, Zamfara State APC Gubernatorial Campaign Council for the re-election of His Excellency Governor Bello Muhammad MON, Matawallan Maradin Shetiman Dolar Usmaniya, His Excellency Honorable Abdulaziz Yara Abubakar Shetiman Zamfara, and former Governor Zamfara State cordially invite all APC members, stakeholders, and supporters in Zamfara State to the flag off of Zamfara State Gubernatorial Campaign, scheduled as follows. Date, Tuesday, 27 December 2022. Venue, Kauran Namoda Township Stadium, along Shinkafi Road, Kauran Namoda, Zamfara State. Time, 10 a.m. prompt. Announcer, Honorable Ibrahim Megandi, Malikin Gidangoga, Director, Publicity Directorate for the Campaign Council.
All right, then, welcome back. Let's take it home. Of course, from the top, we talked about the ANAP poll before the election comes, telling us that a particular candidate is ahead. Even about coming before a major election, you think this is the poll is you think it's a guide or something? You think
for me, it is not. Why am I saying this? Even those who have the phone, the Android phone to do it, some of them don't have data. They just have the phone. Let everybody say I'm using a big phone. They just receive calls and make calls. I know a few people who they carry Android phones about, no data on it. So without data, you can't be part of that. So it is very likely that it is just a number of persons, which cannot represent the total number of electorates in Nigeria.
What do you think the big essence is? The essence? of the exercise?
Those who are behind it have their reasons. For me, it does not, it's not going to affect, in fact, it is going to, this would do, rather than helping the one who was supposed to have won, it will bring more, it will create more awareness to those who did not win, to go back to the drawing board, and begin to work very, very assiduously to make sure that they cover every area where they are not covered. They make sure that they dot their I's and cross their T's. So it is, at the end of the day, it will just make them work harder and smarter.
Jide, I'm looking at the Southeast, which is supposed to be forte, you know, of Peter Obi. But the Southeast is a hotbed of PDP
over the years.
Over time, you know.
Yes, and that's why any survey that gives Article 1%
in the Southeast.
Of the Southeast is not something that I can take seriously.
It's not foolproof.
1% for Article, and then you give Obi 11% in the Northwest and Kwankwaso 6% in that same Northwest. There are some realities about our electoral character that this survey didn't bear in mind. Yes, surveys are supposed to give us logical insights into voting patterns, into the preferences of voters, but I can tell you that this one, with some of what I've seen, I don't think it represents the demographic distribution of the population and the way the population will vote sufficiently. I don't think so.
Okay.
At the end of the day, Obi has 23%, Tinubu 13%, and Article 10.
Yeah.
Kwankwaso 2%. What this means is that Obi may get, if I'm to believe this survey, that Obi may get about 2 times the number of votes that Tinubu will score in this election.
Across board.
Yes, that's what it means. If the survey says 23% for him and 13% for Tinubu, that's about almost twice the number of votes that he would score, almost twice the number of votes that they expect Tinubu to score. In this election, I don't see how that is going to happen. So I agree with them that the youths will vote a lot more this time, but I don't agree with some of the findings. In fact, some of the findings are ridiculous, to say the least.
Okay, at this hangout, ours is just to help mold opinion based on the information reaching us. And I want to thank Babajide Kolade Utitoju. I have yourself a Merry Christmas. If you
have yourself more than the Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
And the Happy New Year.
Ibn Abba, enjoy your holiday.
I will. Yeah. I need it.
Okay. May the merry bells keep ringing for you, but please think Nigeria. Think it's important because we are spending the rest of our lives there. Bye-bye now. That's it on our program for today. But if you missed any part of it, join us later on at 11 for a repeat broadcast. And on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30, we have an expanded edition for you. And we are also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Citizen Jones. Bye-bye now.
University, you think of a place where you will go to cut out your future. And when you get there, you realize there's a lot more to it. The beautiful structures, facilities, and ambience. A place where you meet great minds, experience different cultures, and master the art of fundamental problem solving. Be part of a whole different study experience with Kampala International University, KIU, exploring the heights.
We wish you a Merry Christmas.
My name is Femi Ade.